I wasn't necessarily looking forward to Stitch the movie, but I was curious, and I'm trying to watch every Disney feature film, and this is one that I hadn't seen, so I decided it was time to check it out, and I didn't really enjoy it, but I think it's largely just a personal preference thing. This was released in 2003. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago. And it's directed by Tony Craig and Bob Gannaway, written by Bob Gannaway and Jess Winfield. And we have a voice cast including Chris Sanders as Stitch, Daveigh Chase as Lilo. We also have Dee Bradley Baker, Kevin McDonald, Frank Welker, Jeff Bennett, Kevin Michael Richardson, Rob Paulsen, Corey Burton, Tress MacNeille. Really great voice cast. The narrative itself is the bit I didn't enjoy, which seems like a big thing, but I wasn't really expecting to, so it's not necessarily bad. I think the story they tell, and I'll talk about it in a moment, works well. It seemed quick. It did seem very quick. It's about an hour in length, so it's not a tremendously long film. And I feel like maybe it did kind of feel like a double feature of a TV episode. That's kind of what it felt like more than a feature film. But because I wasn't that enthusiastic about it, I really wasn't bothered about that. But if you're looking for a detailed, immersive feature film experience, it might not be completely fitting that criteria. But nevertheless, the narrative does work well. I just didn't care for it because there is a whole bunch of freeze-dried experiments. And Lilo and Stitch want to bring these experiments to life because, well, Lilo wants more friends for Stitch. And we have this rodent-type character, Dr. Hämsterviel, who wants these experiments. And we have a bit of a fight on our hands. Hämsterviel is a character I really did like. I really thoroughly enjoyed that character. So that certainly worked well. The concept is fine. Having loads of experiments definitely works well. It's nice for... it's creative. I was keen to see what they would look like, what the different characters would look like. We have some really fun character designs, Hämsterviel being one of my favourites, of course. So visually, I'd say there was quite a lot to look at. It's quite fun, but for me, the narrative just wasn't that interesting. It didn't really appeal, but that's absolutely a personal preference thing. If somebody were to argue that it doesn't feel as well developed as it could have done for a feature film, then I definitely can see that. But for me personally, I certainly didn't have a problem with the length of the film. I think it was a decent length to tell the story. I have no issues with that at all. But yeah, maybe it could have been fleshed out a little bit more. I didn't completely dislike Stitch in this either. I'm not really a fan of Stitch as a character, which obviously is another reason why I wasn't tremendously looking forward to this. But he didn't irritate me. I didn't mind him at all. But I'm still not a Stitch fan. So for me, Stitch the movie was not a terrible experience. I didn't mind watching it. I think the length definitely helped there. And it was fun to see the different characters and Hämsterviel. So there were some good aspects. It's just the narrative didn't appeal to me. But it's not badly executed. Maybe a little on the short side. But in general, it's not a bad film. But I wouldn't watch it again. Whereas, interestingly, I think I would watch Lilo and Stitch again. Because I feel like, well, obviously, needless to say, that film has a lot more substance, and I feel like it's something that I could get a lot more out of, even though I don't particularly care for the film. It is something I would like to revisit at some point, as it's been a while since I saw it. But I can't imagine I'd revisit Stitch the movie again. However, if you're a fan of Lilo and Stitch and you haven't seen it, or you're just curious to see what it's like, then give it a go. It's not a long film. It's not a big time commitment. Stitch the movie is not a favourite, but it was okay.